What's going on, guys? We got UFC 260 this Saturday. Francis Ngannou challenging against the reigning, defending, baddest motherfucker on the planet, Stipe Miocic, heavyweight champion of the UFC. We got a lot of good fights on here. Unfortunately, the Ortega and Volkanovski fight got pulled, but there's still a good couple other fights that we can check in on and make it worth the pay-per-view.
Oh,
Um,
definitely. I mean, just having Stipe fight again, dude, is worth the pay-per-view. Man
yeah,
is entertaining. He can take a hit, but he can also be knocked out. We saw what happened when he fought DC the first time. He got knocked the fuck out.
hmm
Where fucking Francis couldn't knock him out, and Francis was throwing some bangers, bombs in his face.
yeah,
Um,
man. Definitely a lot to look into with that fight, but let's just start at the bottom of the main card. It's been jumping around a little bit since the Ortega fight got pulled. I feel like at one point I saw that the Alonzo Manifield fight was supposed to start the main card, but it looks like now that's headlining the prelims, which is a good fight. I do want to catch that. But it looks like what they have now is the Jamie Malarkey fight versus Kama Worthy, which
yeah,
is
this is like a good fight, dude. Both
mhm,
both boys can bang. I mean, Jamie's coming off of his last three fights. He's 1-3. I believe he's coming off a loss, if I remember correctly.
two.
Two losses.
Yeah.
Damn. And then I know Worthy's 2-3 in his last couple fights. So
Man, so Kama Worthy's aside from his last fight where he lost to Adman Azatar, who's a savage, honestly. He was on like a 7 fight win streak prior to that. So he's a lot better than he looks from like I guess from a quick glance. Like he doesn't have the greatest record, but for he's also been put up against some really tough guys. But yeah, I mean that Adman Azatar fight, shit happens. Aside from that, he was doing really good. David Malarkey is really young, man. That's the only thing for me. He's still fairly inexperienced, and coming off two losses like that, I'm not sure why he's still. No offense to the guy, it's just personal opinion. I'm not sure why he's still in the UFC if his only two fights in the UFC were his two losses that just happened. So it's like they're really giving homeboy some time, and to go from debut in the UFC, you lost. Your second fight, you lost, and then now you're on the main card of a pay-per-view. It's this world's crazy. The things that can
yeah, no.
happen.
Coming up, he had a good record coming up before he got to the UFC. So
Yeah, which makes sense.
I think with this fight here, I think Worthy's gonna win it, and Worthy is the better striker overall. I see him going all the way down to decision win, but Jamie can get the win with that big overhand right that he has. So well, we'll see
I
Saturday.
think
I got the decision win.
you got Common Worthy by decision.
Yep.
Yeah, I'll agree with you there. I think Malarkey is scrappy. He's also sloppy a little bit. He doesn't have the most clean technique and whatnot. Worthy's good, man. He's fought really good competition, which means a lot, actually. I think he has the better capability of finishing Malarkey, but the way these two are, the way they scrap, I think I agree with you that we're probably going to look at a decision win for Worthy, but obviously at this high level, anything can happen. So we'll see, but I am excited for that fight.
Yeah, then moving on to the next card, it's the first female fight of the card, or the only female fight on the main card. We have
Mm-hmm.
Robertson versus Miranda Maverick. With this fight, it's been jumping around like you said earlier. It was towards the bottom of the prelims, got pushed all the way up to the second fight of the main card.
It
Both
actually is
girls,
the only fight on the whole. It's the only women's fight on the entire card.
is it? That's what I
Yeah,
thought, but I wasn't 100% sure.
interesting.
Um, with this, I mean, you have Jillian, who's been around the game for a while now, and then Miranda coming up. Only has two losses, if I remember correctly. Correct me if I'm wrong.
Mm-hmm. No, you're good.
Miranda, though, she's a beast, dude. Like, she isn't a big name yet, but she is up and coming. She is somebody to look out for. I got Miranda winning this fight with decision win.
Yeah, man. Miranda's she's young. She's 23 years old. Jillian's got, even though she's only 2 years older, she seems to be like maybe Miranda's most of her fights were in other organizations. Miranda has 12 total fights. Jillian has 14, but a lot of I think her last 7 or 8 were in the UFC. You know what I mean? So she has a lot more octagon experience than Miranda has, being somewhat of a newcomer. There is a good chance that Miranda can just jab her apart, and if she can stuff the takedown, she's gonna get the decision win. I don't know, man. Something about it's just telling me that Jillian, she's durable, and we've seen that in her last couple fights. She's got decent submissions. I think her experience is going to play the factor and give Jillian the W in this one.
Oh,
Tough call, because it's what either one of them can win, but I think I'm gonna have to go Robertson. I might even say like a second round sub.
Second round sub for Robertson. All right, so we're split on this one. I got my girl Maverick getting the dub and decision. You got Jillian with a sub second round. Moving on, we're going to the middle of the card with Sugar Sean O'Malley versus Thomas Almeida. Sean is undefeated still, baby. Mentally, he's still undefeated.
Mentally undefeated, and that's where it matters. Shout out Uncle Chael.
Bro, this it's hard to bet against Sugar Sean, dude.
Yeah. I like Thomas Almeida. He's entertaining to watch. He's a good striker. He might get not guaranteed, but it's like I'm probably in for a good slugfest of his, especially his last fight with Jonathan Martinez was super entertaining. The only thing for me with Almeida, at anytime he fights someone who's somewhat of a top contender, so he fought Rob Font, he lost to him. He fought Cody Garbrandt, he lost to him. And then he had 2 other recent ones that I'm forgetting who he fought. But it's whenever these top 5 guys are a little bit higher, he's coming up short. And Sugar's obviously not a top 5 guy right now, but he's very, very, very talented. He had the shit with the Cheeto fight where he got kicked in the same place like Conor has been getting kicked, and a lot of fighters are starting to do with that calf kick. And, that really caused him to lose the fight. And some people might say, oh, he wasn't getting the best of the exchanges in that fight. Who knows what would have happened? He's quite the counter striker to start fights, and then he kind of goes in heavy with his attacking. But I gotta stay strong with the O'Malley train, man. I think Almeida's chin is possibly starting to deteriorate, and you don't want that against somebody like O'Malley, because if he fucking catches you the way he did Eddie Wineland with just a straight right, you're out of there. So I'm thinking Sugar Sean O'Malley first round KO.
First round KO. I'm in the same boat, baby. I think the only thing Thomas has, if he wants to win this fight, he has to do the exact same thing Cheeto did. Go for that right foot, calf kicks. Sean's gonna go down. Can't fight. I mean, we've seen this happen number of times where fighters are now using that calf kick to win fights. So
yeah, especially the leg that Sean had, the shin that he had broken at one point against Andrei Sukumtov and stuff. So with the break, with not that he probably has any lingering effects from the Cheeto fight, but it's now that you see how vulnerable he is to those, and if it's on the same leg that he broke, real easy to to get that W on that. And if that happens again, fuck, man, I don't know what you do with him after that, because that's just if he goes out there, eats a leg kick, and just starts limping like crazy, then it's bro, you got it x-rayed, you got everything done. They say your leg's completely fine. It just seems you can't take that hit. You probably shouldn't. You got to figure out something else to do, because that'll just be terrible for his future fights. Let's hope he's figured out how to check him, or let's hope he's conditioned it enough, or whatever they have to do for these calf kicks. But I'm thinking, Sean O'Malley first round KO. Did you also say first round, or?
Yeah, first round KO for Sean.
Okay. Also, before we move on to the next one, I want to double down on that Jillian Robertson fight, because I said she's got good ground game. She has 6 of her 9 wins are submission. So I'm definitely doubling down on that. I think Robertson's going to get that second round sub. So mark my words on that. But going into the co-main event, which I don't want to be a hater, but that Volk versus Ortega co-main was real nice. And then now it's, we're kind of settling, but it's still a big name. But we got Tyron, the chosen one, Woodley, we got Vicente Luque. Initial thoughts, brother?
Initial thought is Woodley needs to win this fight to stay in the UFC.
Yeah.
Willie needs to get out of his little shell he built after losing to Kamaru, or I guess after he beat Darren Till, he kind of went to like a little shell where he hasn't won a round since beating fucking Till. So Woodley needs to get out of that shell. He needs to show everybody why at one point he was considered the greatest of all time in the welterweight division. The only way he's going to beat Vincent is going to be by the ground game, by submission, or just wrestling all 3 rounds. But
fuck, man, I would love it if we had the old Tyron Woodley, where like God, his finish on Josh Koscheck is still one of my favorite finishes, bro. He basically puts him out on his feet, and as Koscheck's fall and cracks him 2 more times. Like the way he put out Robbie Lawler, like his fight with Darren Till was beautiful. You know what I'm saying? He waited, he was patient, caught Till with the right hand, with that overhand, and got him into a darts choke. Like that is the Tyrant I like to watch. And then it seems like these fighters that as soon as they're able to out grapple him, he doesn't know what the fuck to do. Like
right,
Usman's strong. Obviously Usman's a champ, so Usman's on the way to potentially considering how April goes against Jorge Masvidal. Usman's on the way to potentially surpassing GSP as the greatest welterweight that there's ever been. Like he's on his way. Like GSP is, in my opinion, still the number 1 of that division, but I mean the way fucking Kamaru destroyed Gilbert Burns, I was like, God damn. Tyron, I get it. He got wrestle fucked by Kamaru, couldn't do anything about it. But then, Gilbert did the same shit even worse. And then Colby did it too. It's like, God damn, bro. Like, he's from St. Louis. I've met the guys. Like, I want him to win. I want him to go out there and, starch Vicente Luque with that overhand right and put him out with 1 punch and show that he still has it. But 38 years old, like, he's still in athletic shape, but here, 38 years old. Now that his mind might not be in it anymore, that's a tough fucking fight. If Vicente Luque is no pushover, man, he's really good. The only thing I'll say about Luque is he's lost to some top. He lost to Leon Edwards, and then we see where Leon is now. He lost to Stephen Wonderboy Thompson. We see where he is now. So he's lost to like really, really good guys. Had an amazing scrap with Nico Price, which ended by like doctor stoppage because Nico was banged up so bad. But it was a really, really good back and forth. If that's what we get out of it, that's exactly what we need. Tyron can look for that one knockout punch or whatever, that barrage of punches. But if Vicente does the game plan and, clinches him and pushes him against the cage and stomps his toes and this, all that wrestling and holding and stuff, and then Tyron just freezes up, then we're going to see another 3 rounds go straight to Vicente Luque.
So who do you got in this fight?
I want Tyron to win because he's the hometown boy. I think Vicente is going to beat him by decision.
You got this decision for Vicente?
Unfortunately, yeah.
I got decision win for Woodley. I feel like he's coming back.
Oh, wow. Look at you.
Bro, I have it on the screen right here, marked already before we made this video.
All right.
Yeah, I got Woodley winning, but just by barely, split decision win. Woodley.
Makes sense.
We're jumping up to the main fight of the card. We have Stipe Miocic versus Francis Ngannou.
Yeah.
Bro, we have the greatest of all time heavyweight versus the fiercest heavyweight we've seen in this division.
Yeah, the fact that like obviously Stipe fights fires, there's not a lot that guy is scared of. But holy fuck, you gotta be scared of Francis's punching power, man. Like I knew that he had the record for the hardest punch at the UFC PI Institute. I did not realize he had the hardest punch ever recorded. I thought it was just at the PI, at the Performance Institute. I didn't realize that punch at the Performance Institute ended up breaking every record there's ever been for the hardest punch. Like Dana White said, he's like, Francis Ngannou punches harder, punches like the equivalent of 96 horsepower vehicle. which is fucking ridiculous. He punches the equivalent of a 12-pound sledgehammer overhead being dropped onto something. That's fucking terrifying. Like,
No, dude,
I don't know, man.
Stipe, even after he beat him the first time, like they asked him in the post fight interview, he's like, "You scared?" He's like, "Hell yeah, I was scared. Did you not see this dude?"
Right? Yeah.
So
Dude,
I feel like this fight is gonna go the exact same way the first fight went. CP's gonna get him into clinch, get him out in the ground game, some ground and pound, and the round's gonna end. It's gonna be wash and repeat all over again. I got Stipe winning by decision again on this one.
Yeah, man. I think you got to base who you think's gonna win a fight partially, like, because a problem that people tend to make sometimes is, and it's funny how wishy-washy it is. If you go off recency bias, so it's like, okay, this fighter in his last 2-3 fights fought this way. Okay, perfect example. The guy who beat Buckley, Alessio DeCherco or whatever. I was like, based off how he's been fighting his last 2-3 fights, I don't see this fight going his way. And then he knocks out Buckley, and you're like, what the fuck? And then there's other times where you're like, this person's been great his entire career. Yeah, he just did bad his last fight, but he's always been, top notch, and then he gets destroyed in their next fight. So it's fucking hard to decide. The thing is with Francis, his only 2 losses were the Stipe fight, and then I don't even really want to count the Lewis fight because, like, neither one of them really did much. But the Stipe fight, and since whenever somebody loses, you want to see, did they improve on what caused them to lose? You know what I'm saying? If Dustin and Conor go for their 3rd fight, and as the fight's starting, Dustin tries throwing some calf kicks and it doesn't work, you're like, okay, now we see where it's going to go from here because Conor's worked on the calf kicks. We have not seen Steve. No, we haven't seen Francis do anything about wrestling.
We don't have time to see it. He fucking comes in, knocks the dude out, and the fight's over.
Yeah,
has any besides the Stipe fight and the Derek Lewis fight where he didn't do anything?
Yeah,
I don't think any of his other fights have gone past the first round.
My friend, they haven't gone past the first minute and a half. Because Kane immediately got him with that shovel hook. JDS got him in, I think, like a minute-ish. Jairzinho was 20 seconds. Like, yeah. It's, I don't know. It's hard to tell, but I'm sure he is working on his wrestling. I've seen photos of him and Kamaru training together. I'm sure Kamaru's trying to teach him everything. If Stipe goes for that takedown and gets stuffed, it's a bad fucking night. But, I mean, Stipe can box his ass off, but it's a bad fucking night if his first, couple attempts get stuffed. It's like, oh, shit, this is going to be bad. Because, there's nothing to exhaust Francis. Francis can stand and strike at that point. But I agree.
I mean, we haven't seen Francis out of the first round. I mean, when we did see him out of the first round,
he was exhausted.
He was done after the first round.
He was dead. Yeah, exactly. So if he hasn't improved, it's going to be exact copy of what happened last time. I do think whether it's a copy or not, Stipe does have to survive the first onslaught, that first round where Francis is just going to come in like crazy, and Stipe is going to have to try to back up, cut corners, get a takedown if he can without getting caught. Because he got caught a couple times in the first fight until he was able to wear him down and then implement his own striking. But I can't, predict based off one, knockout power, potential knockout power. So I also agree. I think Stipe is going to win this fight, but more than that, I think he might get the TKO. If his wrestling is dominant, his striking is obviously good. And if it goes the same way the last fight, he'll definitely win by decision, but there is also a chance that later in those rounds, he might just start landing clean and finish off Francis.
Dude, I'd love to see it. Love to see it.
I bet. Yep, your uncle Stipe, Croatian Kings.
So, I mean, baby, dude, it's going to be a good night. We're fairly even throughout the card. We have 2 splits on it. You have Jillian, I have Miranda, I have Woodley, you have Vicente. So,
yep.
Besides that, we'll see how it goes. Our predictions have been getting better on these pay-per-view cards, especially the last one. The last one, I think I went 3-2, and you went 4-1. So
yeah, last one was good. The only was the Israel Israel was the only one that was incorrect, which, I mean, hats off to Jan Blachowicz. But good fight card, man. Looking forward to, like I said, I thought it was going to be in the main card, but I guess it got pushed down. But the Alonzo Manafield fight, that's a good one. So people can watch out for that. Modestas Bukauskas is fighting again. We've talked about him in the past. I'm sure his fight will be entertaining. But Saturday night, our time, it's nighttime. If we have any viewers that are outside of the country, it's different for them. But yeah, Saturday night, looking forward to it, man. Seeing what happens, and a lot more good fights to be coming up soon. So appreciate you guys watching. If you are, like, comment, subscribe, the whole deal. And we'll see you after Saturday night.